you think you should be.
Hey guys, what is going on? My name is Killer B, and in today's GTA 5 video we're going to be talking about 5 vehicles you need in GTA Online. Now, as you know, there are a lot of different vehicles in the game, and some of these can really help you out, whether you are a new player or an experienced player. And since there are so many vehicles you can get, we are going over 5 vehicles that I highly recommend you should get. Now, as for this list, some of you may not agree with it, which is perfectly fine. This list was made according to my opinion and my experience, so if you disagree, that's fine. Let me know which vehicle you think should have been in this list in the comment section down below. And as always, if you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe for more GTA content. With that said, let's jump into today's video. Starting off our list with the number 5 spot, we have the Botti 801 motorcycle. Now, I wanted to include at least one motorcycle in this list, as I think every GTA player should at least own one of these. And today we're gonna talk about my favorite, which is the Botti. Now, first starting off on where we can find this motorcycle, we go over to the internet and select the Southern San Andreas Super Autos website. Now, simply search on motorcycles and you will find the Botti 801 and the 801RR. Now, both come with the same price, as I believe the performance of these two don't differ much either. The Botti is available to buy for a mere $15,000, which makes it one of the cheapest vehicles in the game. Now, looking at the positives and the negatives of the vehicle. Starting off with the positive things, first off, as I mentioned, the Botti is one of the cheapest vehicles in the game, making it perfect for starting players or players that quickly want to buy a motorcycle for any other reason. Now, second point is the acceleration. The acceleration alone is pretty good compared to the other bikes, but it also makes wheelies very easily, allowing you to increase your speed even more. Now, this is a good strength of the Botti in comparison to the other more heavier motorcycles, which won't come up to speed as fast as the Botti because they can't perform a wheelie. Now, the Botti corresponds very nice. I say even without braking, the motor would still turn around any corner pretty fast, making it a very good to handle at high speed. I find an overall fast motorcycle, making it also fitting to use in motorcycle races. Now, for the drawbacks, they are pretty much the same as the overall drawbacks of the average motorcycles in GTA. Now, what do I mean by that? First of all, when you are on a bike, you are like a moving shooting target. You got no defense, nowhere to hide, so it really puts the player in a more vulnerable position when you would compare it to a car. Now, also, you have to be more careful while driving, as one crash will throw you off your motorcycle, which in the worst case will kill you. So there we have it. Starting off our list, we have the Botti 801 motorcycle. Following our list in the number 4 spot, we have the Deluxo. Now, the Deluxo was added in the Doomsday Heist update, where the player was able to use it in first of 3 acts of the Mega Heist. It's a 2-person vehicle, and we will be going over the pros and the cons in a few seconds. But first, let's talk about where you can find this car. So for this car, we again, like all vehicles, go to the internet, and this time we are going to the Warstock website. Here we can find the Deluxo for 2 prices, one being the normal price and the other being the discounting price. Now, on my screen you can see the discounting price, which is a bit over $3.5 million, which is the price I recommend buying this car if you want it, as the full price comes a bit over $4.7 million. Now, for the discounting price, you must however finish a setup mission in the first act of the Doomsday Heist while you were the leader. Now, let's talk about what makes this car so good. First of all, probably the reason why you would buy this car is because it's got a special hover mode. Now, when this car is in hover mode, it allows you to hover over water and fly through the air. Since this is still a car we are talking about, that basically means you have a vehicle that can be used on both the road, on water and in the air. Now, as you guys can see in the video, I'm showing you this by both driving and flying towards my yacht. with little ease, and I could also leave the same method without any problem. This car can be equipped with 30 missiles and a machine gun. Also note that even though this is a special vehicle, it can be brought to the Los Santos custom shop to customize it. Now for the performance, I have to say that this car is actually pretty fast. It's not a slow car by all means, but I must admit the fact that there are faster cars in the game. You probably won't buy this car because you want to have a fast car, because there are much more cheaper and better options in this car. So speed isn't this car's better point, but I must say it doesn't disappoint either. It's still a relative fast car. Also the speed this car flies with isn't that great. I set it around average, which is fine for a car, but isn't super fast or anything like that. Now second point to notice, as I said earlier on, this car is incredibly expensive, especially if you didn't do the mission for it. What's that? You can buy like 5 770s or 6 Spectres for the same amount of money you spent on a discounted Deluxo. Finally, the Deluxo can be customized at the Los Santos Customs, but for the weapon customization you must either have an Avenger airplane or a mobile operations center, which will cost you even more millions, and I don't think people will spend that money to get the most pleasure out of this car. But I think for the players that play GTA for a longer time and have the money for it, I still recommend it for those players. It's a fun car that can be used anywhere and comes equipped with weapons, so it's not a bad vehicle by all means. And that is the number 4 spot on our list, the Deluxo. Moving up to the number 3 spot on our list, we have the Centorno. Now the reason why the Centorno is on this list is because I wanted to have a reliable and fast supercar in this list, and this was the first car that came to my mind. It's a GTA 5 classic, as it's been in the game from almost the beginning, and that plays it maybe a bit safe, but that's also a reason why I recommend this car. The Centorno can be found on the Legendary Motorsports website, and one of the reasons why this car is on the list is because the car is pretty cheap in my opinion. It costs you $725,000. Now $725,000 sounds like a lot of money, but I don't think that's the case when you think about it. I mean, we are talking about a high performance supercar which normally starts in the 1 to 2 millions. So for GTA starters, this is the car I recommend you to buy quick in the game, so you can already get yourself a reliable car. Now I could have chosen other cars for this list. I think when it comes to GTA vehicles, everyone has their own opinion on what they like, and I think cars are the greatest example to that. I could have chosen a T20, an Osiris or a Nero Custom, which are just a few examples of the cars I love to drive. But that's okay, I respect that, but hear me out why I have chosen the Centorno. Just like I said before, the car is reliable and cheap, which are already great points to begin with. Besides its speed, I also really enjoy the brakes of this car. It doesn't drift far in corners, letting you keep control of the car. When you brake, the car will slip but a bit, but with the Centorno it recovers really fast, like almost immediately, which isn't something a lot of cars can do. Like I said, it's a great performance car, it's great for stunt races, especially for wall rides. I always pick either the Centorno or the T20 for these. So yeah, I think I am positive about this car, so positive that I can't even think about any bad points about it. Maybe one thing, the car is pretty low, which makes it a bad match for driving in the hills or driving stairs. I could have put it higher on this list, but it just didn't beat the other 2 vehicles in this list, which is why it stands on the number 3 spot. But besides that, I highly recommend the Centorno, a great car deserving the number 3 spot on our list. Coming in at the number 2 spot on our list, we have the Kuruma car. Now to be clear, in this list we are talking about the armored version of the car, since you have a normal version and a armored version. Now the Kuruma car is unlocked after you completed the first heist that was released in GTA Online, and that is the Fleeka job. It's a 2-person heist where you have to rob the Fleeka bank for Lester and use the Kuruma car as a getaway vehicle. Now to get this car you must go to the internet on your cell phone and go to the Southern San Andreas website. Then simply filter to 4-door cars and scroll down to find yourself the car. Now, as I said, you have two versions of the car. The normal version, it goes for around $95,000, and the armored version, which we will take a look at. This car will cost you $525,000 when complete the Fleeka job heist, and almost $700,000 without completing the heist, which I think is not very expensive compared to the other $1 million cars you have nowadays in GTA Online. Now let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages. Why buy this car, what makes it so great, and what you may want to know when buying this car. Let's start off with the good things first. As it is an armored car, it's totally bulletproof. This is great for driving into a big group of enemies without having to worry about being shot or finding cover. The second advantage is that while the car gives you cover, you can also shoot your enemies down while in the vehicle. This makes it very easily to take out all the enemies without taking any damage. And finally, besides being a small bulletproof tank, I also think the car has a fair top speed and acceleration for a car with so much armor on it. Now, with all these benefits, it's only normal that the car has some drawbacks as well. First of all, as I said, you can shoot with your own weapons from this car without taking any damage from enemy gunfire. But when aiming at certain angles around the car, you are not able to shoot, making it more difficult to take out enemies without repositioning your car first. Also know that you cannot throw any explosives out of this car, which in my opinion is also a big disadvantage. Of course, you can solve this problem by simply leaving the car. When you're up against a big group of enemies, you can still use this car as a bulletproof wall while having access to all your weapons, including explosive weapons. Now, as I said, the car is pretty fast, which I'm very pleased with. However, its brakes are a different story. They take a few seconds to fully stop the car, and when taking a turn, your car will keep drifting, giving you less grip. This doesn't have to be a bad thing in every situation, as skilled drivers or people that love to drive can actually take a lot of pleasure out of this car. But for overall situations, I prefer a car that has more grip, so I'm counting this more as a disadvantage, but you can judge that for yourself. Now, one major thing about this car that annoys me a lot is the fact that it has terrible first-person driving experience. You literally can't see a single thing when driving in first person. The armor of this car is the biggest advantage, but also the biggest disadvantage. It just really is hard to drive like this, and to be honest, I drive most of my time in third person view. Sometimes it's really fun driving in first person, but this car is an exception to this rule. Like I said, the armor of this car is one of its strengths. However, note that this is a bulletproof car, as it only takes one shot from a rocket launcher to destroy this car, so keep that in mind. So there we have the number 2 car on our list, the Kuruma Armored. A great car, one of my favorites, but keep in mind when buying it that it does have its flaws. Now, at the number 1 spot we have the most badass vehicle in GTA 5, which is the BMX bike. Being real here, I think everyone, and I mean everyone, must own a bike in this game. If you don't own one, buy it right now. It's the cheapest vehicle you can buy. You can jump with it, you can cross around the map with it. That's if you're really bored. So the BMX ending our list today. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Alright, now coming in at our real number 1 spot, the vehicle that I highly recommend to buy in GTA Online is the Botti Attack Chopper. This is by far the best vehicle I want to talk about with you guys, and I'm gonna explain to you what makes it so great. You can find the Botti by opening your phone and going to the Warstock website, and then simply scroll down until you find it. Now, the Botti doesn't come cheap as with many of the Warstock vehicles. You can buy it for $1.75 million. For some reason it says on my screen that it's free, but I already have a Botti, so it's of no use to me. But normally the Botti will cost you $1.75 million. Now, to talk about the good parts about this chopper, I will start off by saying that this is a must-have, especially if you are a CEO. Now let me explain. When you are a CEO, you can go to the quick menu and go to the Secure Serve CEO. Here you will get a second menu with the option CEO Vehicles. This lets you get a vehicle by paying money for it, But if you own this vehicle, it will be completely free for you to use it. After you select your chopper, it will spawn right next to you, which saves you a lot of trouble for first going to the closest road or helipad, wasting like 5 minutes of your time just reaching the vehicle you were calling. Now, as you can see, I own a lot of properties. From my apartment in the north of the map, I have 2 properties in the military base. I have my warehouses, offices, nightclubs in the city, and in the Sandy Shores area I have my MC businesses standing. Now, I'm not telling you this because I want to brag about it, because I know any GTA player can get this, so it's not something to make a big deal about. The reason why I'm telling you this is because I like to divide my properties around the map. Now, I find it more fun to cover the map and get the feeling you get to be the real boss around the island than by placing everything near the city and to make it easier for yourself. I find that a bit boring, but I can understand why players would do this. Now, GTA Online doesn't have a form of fast traveling, and that's where this chopper comes in place. While it isn't an instant travel, it does let you cross over the map in a relatively small time frame. Now, next part I find the Buzzard standing out for is the comparison to other choppers is its agility. It just feels so comfortably to fly this thing. Up, down, left, right, it pretty much gives you a feeling that you have a lot of control of the vehicle. Another advantage is that this vehicle can be used in a very quick money make method that I use, which is by doing VIP work. Now, I'm not going to talk about that because I already made a video about that. I will leave a link for that in the description down below if you guys are interested. Now, since we are talking about a military chopper, you expect some weapons it comes with, right? Well, the Buzzard comes with an unlimited ammo machine gun and unlimited rocket missiles. Yep, you guys heard that right. Unlimited missiles for you to fire. These missiles can give you a major advantage when shooting at enemies, especially NPCs, which you can hit almost every time as long as you have the right angle on them. And I say with a chopper that shouldn't be much of a problem. Now, as much as I can praise this vehicle, I must also mention the disadvantages it has, which are only 2 I can think of. First and biggest issue with the Buzzard is its vulnerability. This vehicle breaks pretty fast. It takes only a couple of gunshots for it to take down, with the rotors being its weakest points. Simply a few shots and the chopper will give up on you in a couple of minutes, and that's if you are lucky. Now, rocket missiles can also be guessed. One shot and you and your chopper are done for. Another thing I may be able to think of is that it is a pretty expensive vehicle, which can make it pretty hard for new players to get it right away, and since it can be best used when you are a CEO, you must also buy an office, which will cost the player even more money. But when talking just about the buying price of $1.75 million, I would say it's still pretty fair when I compare it to some other vehicles you can find at websites like Warstock or Legendary Motorsports. So that's the end of this list with the Buzzard as our final and best vehicle. So what were your thoughts about this list? Did you agree, or did you think that any other vehicles I might have missed? I'm really curious about the vehicles you guys have come up with, so feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. Also, while you are under this video, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button for more GTA content. Also, feel free, if you enjoyed this video, if you would like the idea of me reviewing other GTA vehicles. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.